Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. Today is Liberation Day, as they say in the White House. If you look up Liberation Day on ChatGPT, the first thing you get is the Trans Visibility Day. But you say, I don't think, and I wrote in, I don't think we're talking about the same thing. And then ChatGPT says, oh yeah, President Trump has denoted today, April 2nd, 2025, as Liberation Day. Again, it's Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, that he's called Independence Day. It's for years, he says this. Now, he wrote this on Truth Social. For years, we have been ripped off by virtually every country in the world, both friend and foe. But those days are over. So America first, Trump said last week. Trump will host an event in the White House, Rose Garden, this afternoon. And you probably already saw it. To lay out details forecasting in recent weeks reciprocal tariffs for countries or companies that don't make goods in America will be affected. If you don't make goods here in America, you're going to be affected. So on Monday and Tuesday, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, previewed the tariffs implementation. And here's what she said.
I think, first of all, unfortunately, these countries have been ripping off our country for far too long. And they've made, I think, their disdain for the American worker quite clear. If you look at the unfair trade practices that we have, 50% from the European Union on American dairy. You have a 700% tariff from Japan on American rice. You have a 100% tariff from India on American agricultural products. You have nearly a 300% tariff from Canada on American butter and American cheese. This makes it virtually impossible for American products to be imported into these markets, and it has put a lot of Americans out of business and out of work over the past several decades. So it's time for reciprocity, and it's time for a president to take historic change to do what's right for the American people, and that's going to take place on Wednesday.
And you said that the president right now is with the trade and tariff team. They are very confident that this is all going to work. But
Yes.
What if they're wrong?
They're not going to be wrong. It is going to work. And the president has a brilliant team of advisors who have been studying these issues for decades. And we are focused on restoring the golden age of America and making America a manufacturing superpower. And again, Peter, I would point you to the investments that have already trickled into this country. And the president hasn't even made his tariff announcement yet tomorrow. There have been billions of dollars in private investments from around the world pouring into American communities. What does that look like for those watching at home, for the people you mentioned, worried about their own economic circumstances? It means more jobs in your communities, which means more money, more investments, more money in your pocket. That's what the president is committed to. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the president's commitment to tax cuts, which we are counting on Congress to do, especially on Social Security.
Yeah, and there's Peter Ducey saying, but what if they're wrong? Okay, is it like, okay, so you say we have some tariffs against these countries and it doesn't work? Like you can't, I mean, it's like it's impossible to remove them, impossible to tick them down. It's just stupid. It's just dumbass. So you saw that that Caroline Leavitt said, it's going to work. So I don't know what you're talking about. Here's the thing though. There's been all this talk about tariffs, and the media and some people on social media are acting like tariffs was just a Trump idea. In the very same way they thought that, or they'll have people believe that slavery was just a United States idea. Like the United States came up with slavery. The United States came up with tariffs. Like Trump came up with tariffs. And somehow, like other countries don't charge tariffs. As a matter of fact, here are a few. It's a 50% tariff from the EU on American dairy, on our cheese, on our milk, our cottage cheese, our sour cream, American dairy. There's a 50% tariff. from the EU on American dairy. There is a 700% tariff from Japan on American rice. For that good Louisiana rice, 700% tariff. You can't sell rice in Japan. You can't go to a Japanese store and find any American rice. Just not there. Here, you can find as much Japanese rice as you can chomp down, as you can pick up with a freaking chopsticks. There, 700% tariff. India, a friend, 100% tariff on American agricultural products. 100%. Canada, a country we share a border with, one of the longest borders in the world. 300% tariff from Canada on American butter and cheese. They share a border with Wisconsin, our dairy state. And this continues to happen. And of course, media and social media would be like tariffs was something that Trump invented. No, it's just stupid. Stupid. Scott Bensett said for the first time that since he was a college student, we're actually going to see fair trade. It's crazy. Go ahead and watch this clip.
April 2nd, we are going to disclose the reciprocal tariffs. I'm not going to get out ahead of President Trump. He's going to announce them 3 o'clock on Wednesday. And I think for the first time in decades, probably since I was a college student, we're going to see a fair trade, and everyone will have the opportunity to lower their tariffs, lower their non-tariff barriers, stop the currency manipulation, stop subsidizing labor, stop subsidizing, stop providing cheap loans, and they make the global trading system fair for American workers again. And if President Trump campaigned on this, he has a mandate. As you know, he had a substantial electoral college majority. He won all 7 swing states, and he won the popular vote. So he has a mandate to do this. He's doing what he promised he would do.
Okay.
He's bringing jobs home.
Yes, and they're doing something that they should do. They keep repeating that Trump has a mandate. The left is like, he barely won the popular vote. Well, he crushed it in the electoral vote, but they don't count the electoral college. All the 7 swing states that might have gone the other way, as it turned out, we didn't really need them. Crushed them, won them all. Turned the tide, moved the needle, as I like to say, and hopefully these changes will be made. So on Capitol Hill, Trump still has the backing of the House of the Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from Jason Smith from Fox News.
Tomorrow's Liberation Day. He's going to make some serious moves if these countries do not treat our products fairly. And Stuart, if you look at a report that I was just reviewing recently of 132 different countries and 600,000 different products, U.S. exporters pay higher tariffs on 2/3 of those products. That is unacceptable. That is not a level playing field. That is not free and fair trade.
Like we talked about a little bit ago, we talked about tariffs being leverage, right? Leverage. So this country decides to charge this country more for their goods, right? Well, this country makes bubbly, and this country makes Waterloo. This country imports a lot of bubbly. Huh? A lot of bubbly. This country right here. This country decides to protect its bubbly, that it's going to charge 100% tariff on the import of Waterloo into their country. Now, this country's GDP trading with this country is 1.5%. They trade Waterloo everywhere else in the world. Yeah, everywhere else. This country here, 1.5%. They could effectively do without this country. This country charges, let's say they charge 200% to get Waterloo in. This country decides that they have a tariff of 5% to get bubbly in. So there is a trade imbalance. This country decides, screw that country. We're gonna raise our tariff to be fair, to be equal with you. You charge me, you over here charge me 200%. I am going to charge you 200%, because then it will be equal. Now remember, this country is only dealing with this is only 1.5% of this country's, right? They don't really need them. If these people decided, I don't want to do it, I don't want to trade with you anymore, this country would be just fine. It'd be kind of a shame, but this country would be just fine if this country, didn't want to deal with them anymore. That's what we're talking about. This is essentially what we're talking about. Some of these countries are going to have to start dealing fairly in trade with the United States. We're going to put up the list that the president had at his press thing in the Rose Garden, announcing some of these tariffs, and you'll get to see what we're kind of talking about. There's a bunch of countries. We're not going to list them all, but we're going to show them on the screen anyway. So during his appearance on CNBC, Ross Sorkins, the Ontario Premier Doug Ford, I suggested that Canada would drop all of its tariffs on U.S. goods. So those people like Peter Ducey was like, what if it doesn't work? Because it's leverage, it's already working. I got something on my shirt. There you go. It's already working. It's already working. Already working. The Mexican president has said that she's not going to go tit for tat, which kind of means like, hey, listen, whatever you charge, we'll charge, and we'll be fine. We're not going to keep going. We're not going to escalate. We share a border. Trade should be fair across the board. It should be fair. Fair, in this particular instance, I don't know why a lot of people on the left can't get this. Fair should mean it's the same. You charge 2%, we charge 2%. You charge 0%, we charge 0%. Now, 0% is actually free trade. You can sell your stuff here. We're not going to increase the price of it. We can sell our stuff there. We're not going to increase the price of it. Now, part of the deal is if we're dealing with communist and socialist country that subsidize their factories, that gives them an immediate advantage.
Let's sit down and discuss this, because it's just going to hurt American jobs. I can't stress it enough. And, again, he believes he's supporting Americans. He said he was going to create jobs, create wealth, reduce inflation. It's worked the total opposite. Inflation.
But do you think it's fair that you have tariffs on a whole number of products?
That's right. And we'd be willing to take those off tomorrow if he took all the tariffs off. We are not the problem, Andrew. Do you know the problem is? China's the problem. And he's taking a blind eye to China as they continue to build their critical mineral mass, We have all the critical minerals that our great neighbors need. We have the energy that our great neighbors need.
I just want to go back for a moment. If, in fact, you're prepared to take your tariffs off, why wouldn't you have that negotiation and that conversation now before any tariffs get put in place?
Well, we've had this conversation for over the last month. We don't want tariffs. We have another $65 billion worth of tariffs to launch today. That's the last thing we want to do, because it's just, again, it's going to hurt both countries. It's going to hurt American workers. That's the last thing I want.
Andrew meant take the other ones off, not the ones you're launching today. The ones that you already got.
You're saying you take all your tariffs off. I'm saying
we will take them off. That's right.
Then why is that not? I guess my question is, why has all of that not already happened? And does President Trump know that you'd be prepared to do that?
He knows, and Secretary Lutnick knows that we're willing to take these tariffs off like in the next minute if he said he's taking their tariffs off. So let's look at the auto sector.
So there needs to be some balance there, some reciprocal balance to make it even, or as close to even as possible. Don't you think? Most adults think so. So, but Doug Ford's on there saying, he stated that that the impending tariff war is just going to hurt American jobs, and that Trump said he was going to create jobs and wealth and reduce inflation. So Sorkin asked Ford whether he believed it was fair that Canada has tariffs on a whole number of products. And he said, and we'd be willing to take those off tomorrow if he took all the tariffs off, and he suggested that really China is the problem. The host asked why Canada wouldn't have these negotiations before. Well, I know why, and you know why, because they never thought that he would be able, that Trump would do it. Trump is a blustery dude. He never thought he'd do it. He was of the mind, like a lot of people, like this would just go on business as usual. Trump would make a fuss. Nothing would happen. And what they're learning is around the world, what they learned today is that Trump's a different cat, completely different cat. And especially in this situation where he knows that he is short term. This is the last term. There's not going to be a third term. Trump is not going to try to get Congress to maneuver a third term. He's just messing with y'all. I mean, this dude is 100,000 times troll master. He's just messing with y'all. Frankly, I don't think he's interested in running for a third term. I don't. First of all, think how old he's going to be. I do not think he is interested in the least about a third term. Just giving y'all something to talk about in the meantime. So Doug Ford, the dude from Canada, further explained that the Trump administration, quote, knows that we're willing to take the tariffs off in the next minute, and if he said he's taking their tariffs off. Now the deal is, now if Doug Ford wants to play chicken, he's going to get cooked. He's going to get cooked. Because Trump's going to go, I'm afraid you're going to have to go first. In my example with the bubbly and the Waterloo, yes, I'm drinking bubbly and Waterloo. I know. But anyway, we're Waterloo. The amount of trade as a percentage of GDP with Canada is fairly small. Canada with the United States is huge. 75%? It's monstrous. They need us. Doug Ford shouldn't be worried about American jobs. He should be terrified for Canadian jobs. Terrified. So he's going to have to make the first move there. He's going to have to wake up tomorrow morning and go, yep, all the tariffs are off. And then because it's reciprocal, Trump may go, okay. How about all the industries that are subsidized by the Canadian government? They have an advantage. Can we make it so we don't have that, so that advantage is taken away, so all our companies can deal fairly across the border? Because because Trump's going to say it's on you. You know what we're going to do, not what's on you, and take all the pressure and put it back on Canada. Take all the pressure and put it back on Mexico. Because Trump's willing to go zero tariffs on the continent. He's willing to go zero tariffs on the continent. He's also willing to go to war. You could get what you want, but you're not going to be able to keep what you have. That's what he's telling them. You can get what you want, but you're not going to be able to keep what you have. If what you want is fair trade, you're going to be able to get that. Because you're not going to be able to maintain the status quo. That's not going to happen. That's simply not going to happen. And Doug Ford, of course, serves as the chair of Canada's Council of the Federation of Premiers. However, tariffs on some U.S. goods fall under the purview of the nation's federal government. So the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has not yet revealed on how exactly Canada will respond to Trump's incoming reciprocal tariffs that are set to be announced at 4 o'clock. Actually, it's 3 o'clock. And we're going to talk about those in a little bit. The federal government has previously said it's prepared to move forward with tariffs to a total of $155 billion worth of U.S. goods. For Ontario's part, the province has unleashed a number of retaliatory measures, including removing all American-made alcohol from LCBO shelves, banning U.S. companies from government procurement, and imposing and then rescinding a 25 tax on electricity sent south of the border. 25% tax on yeah, they did it and they pulled it back. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So Ford has threatened to levy a surcharge on electricity to 3 U.S. states in March as President Trump continued to discuss tariffs. Trump responded by threatening to double the tariffs he had already placed on Canadian products. You know, we had a show with our friend from Wisconsin, and Paul Swanson of the Swanson Report, and he had a great point. He said, "Look around your house for something that says made in Canada." Go ahead. Oh, wait. Well, I guess you've looked around the house and you've found 0 that says made in Canada on it. That's exactly right. Unless you've gone and gotten it yourself, or you live on a border state, you live as far as I do from Canada, down in Florida, there's nothing in your house. That's not one single damn thing in your house that says made in Canada. Unfortunately, there's lots of stuff around here, just on my table here, that says made in China. Yeah, there's lots. Way too much. Except for this guitar. Wait a minute. Where's my guitar made? I don't know. It says, I don't know where this guitar was made. It's a nice little guitar. It's a Kona guitar. I think they're made in Mexico. But in any case, there's nothing in my house that was made in China. Nothing. I mean, made in Canada. Mouse, Chinese. Microphone, Chinese. Everything. So that relationship is going to be different in Canada. So with Canada, so people in Canada are bowing up, like what they have to say is actually going to matter, especially when they can barely field a military, let alone win a Stanley Cup. Shut up. And basically the same thing with Mexico. There's more stuff in your house made in Mexico, and especially maybe in your driveway, that was assembled in Mexico than Canada. So this is leverage. This is all leverage. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you some. I'm going to show you some sheets of what the reciprocal tariffs are for countries around the world. And you're going to look at them and you go, you know what? You may look at them and go, we're still kind of getting screwed a little bit. You know, this isn't. I mean, this isn't even. This isn't reciprocal in that sense. Where you think reciprocal means that you do 10, we do 10. This first one that I'm looking at is Moldova. Moldova, right now, tariffs to the United States, including currency manipulation and trade barriers, 61%. So USA discounted reciprocal tariffs will be 31%. Angola. We don't do much trading with Angola, but they're at 63%. We'll charge them 32%. Let's go down to places like Mozambique. 31%. We'll charge them 16%. Right? Let's go down to the Falkland Islands. Remember the Falklands Island with all the sheeps? The sheep, not sheeps, sheep. 82%, including the manipulation of the currency and all that kind of stuff. 82%. We're going to charge them 41%. Now, it doesn't matter how much trading do we do with the Falkland Islands? Almost none. Some of these countries like Albania, Armenia, Nepal, Saint Martin, Kuwait, Togo, Suriname, Belize, 10%. So there's a lot of countries where you're like, you know, it's gonna be okay. It's not a big deal. Oman, 10%. Uruguay, Ukraine, 10%. Qatar, or Qatar. Some of these other countries, Mauritius, 80%. We'll charge them half of that because we barely do anything with them. Liechtenstein, 73%. We'll charge them 38% total. Haiti, 10%. Bosnia and Herzegovina, 70% tariff on U.S. goods. And you know, if we combine their tariffs and currency manipulation, 70%. We'll charge them half to sell Bosnian and Herzegovinian product here in the U.S. And how anything in your house made in Canada, anything in your house made in Bosnia, you charge them whatever. Nothing in your house made in Bosnia. Nothing. Unless you've been there and brought something with you. Nothing in your house. So now you can look at these, and we'll put these on the screen so you can peruse them. And what you'll see is, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. Most of this is much ado about nothing. So if it doesn't concern Mexico, Canada, and China, doesn't really much matter. But with all the hullabaloo, our trading partners on this continent, both China and Mexico, are already backing down. Already backing down. Why? Leverage. A lot more things. You know, we buy a lot more things from Mexico than they buy from us. They need us more than we need them. It's just folks. You may like it or you may not like it, but that's how it is. That's just how it is. Mexico, like I said, Mexico has decided, well, maybe we won't mess with this back and forth war stuff with trade. An article in Town Hall by my friend Jeff Charles, he writes, the Mexican government will not impose retaliatory tariff if President Donald Trump proposes duties to go into effect on April 2nd, which was now, as you're watching this, yesterday. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum indicated that Wednesday indicated that the nation will look at other ways to navigate the imminent tariff war. And you know what it's going to be? Backing off your tariffs. That's what it's going to be. So it says Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said Wednesday that Mexico does not plan to impose retaliatory tariffs on the United States ahead of the President Trump's announcement to impose new tariffs. Sheinbaum added that Mexico will on Thursday, tomorrow, announce a comprehensive program, not a tit for tat on tariffs. How much you want to guess this comprehensive program backs off their tariffs that they already have? How much you want to bet? Yeah, of course. Leverage. They need us. We don't need them. And I think that that's something that a lot of people just don't get. As far as trade goes, we don't need them. Might there be an uptick in avocado prices? Avocados from Mexico. Maybe. So your guac may be a little bit more expensive. It might be. Okay. Okay, fine. But that's really about it. Car companies that are made in Mexico now are moving their productions back to the United States, creating American jobs, pretty good paying American jobs. And that's the point. That's the point. Really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Like the dude from Shark Tank says, this is the long play. This is not the short play. It's not the play for the next election cycle for 2024. This is not. This is a long play. And where American business and American government has failed so often in the past half century is that we only think from election cycle to election cycle, that we never think the long play. This battle with tariffs and this whole imposing leverage is for the long term. That things will be better in the long run. Maybe not in the short term. There may be some pain in the beginning of this. There might be, very well might be. I don't think nearly as much as people think, but there might be. But in the long term, when countries have to deal fairly in trade with the US, it is my thought, it's my belief that they will, because we are a consumer nation. And especially if we start building up manufacturing and we need them less and less. This is why, if somebody else around the world can build a cell phone, we can build a cell phone here. We can put a cell phone together here. If somebody has to, if somebody around the world has to build a TV, we can build a TV here. If they won't let us sell, if they won't let us sell our TVs there, and they don't, we can build our TVs here. They will need us as trade partners. Most of the countries around the world need us as trade partners because we buy crap. Because we're Americans. We like stuff. You remember George Carlin did his whole thing on stuff? We have these big houses so we can have our stuff. And then we go on vacation and then we take a subset of our stuff with us. Sometimes we have so much stuff that we rent a place to have stuff that we never freaking see. But it's our stuff. And we buy that stuff. And it comes from all over the world. They need us. A lot of those countries, we are a large part of their GDP. This is the long game. I like that Trump's playing the long game. I do. Because that's how we're successful in the long term. Anyway, we got to get out of here, maybe for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sake, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.